The World Assembly for Women 2014, held under Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's initiative to create a society in which women shine. An international conference to discuss policies for the empowerment of women.
I am determined to make the 21st century a world with no human rights violations against women. WOW is one step towards making that pledge a reality.
We are glad, as the Prime Minister indicated, that we are going to have a home in Tokyo.
More than 100 panelists from 24 countries and 6 international organizations discussed measures to promote the role of women in society. Foreign Minister Fumio Kishida, who chaired the roundtable, issued a final proposal.
WOW will be held again next year. Now is the time for Japan and the world to take serious action.
World Assembly for Women in Tokyo 2014.
Let's enjoy Japan.
Wonderful.
I knew you'd like this.
You know me so well. Where to next?
Golf.
Wonderful.
Japanese garden.
That's wonderful too.
Onsen with a Fujisan view.
Wonderful.
Let's go then.
いらっしゃいませ. Wonderful.
Incredible.
Smiles ahead. Seibu Group.
Tomorrow never ends with you. With you. When the morning falls, we there so long. Well, I know
For life's greatest moments. Bridgestone.
Welcome to Channel Japan. I'm Mai Demizu.
And I'm Makiko Tsuda.
Every week we bring you the freshest information out of Japan from a studio here in Tokyo.
From the economy to culture and even foods, if you want to find out what's happening in Japan right now, this is where you'll find it.
We bring you Channel Japan Ranking, in which we rank some of the hottest products and services in the country.
Yes, and we want to take a look at a farmers market. There are over 23,000 farmers markets throughout Japan, and this number is much higher than the number of stores one major convenience store company has.
So today we take a look at these various markets that sells various products.
Before the line of cars, we find a factory directly selling Chinese foods. The factory, Seika, makes dim sum for expensive Chinese restaurants in Yokohama City. As they are able to buy high-quality foods at discount prices, it is favored by many consumers. Open for only 2.5 hours a day, Seika is always bustling with customers. Everyone is buying large quantities. You can find juicy Chinese steamed buns, to sesame dumplings filled with special bean jam. At a restaurant, you would be paying double the price. There are around 30 varieties for sale. Let's introduce their top 3 popular products. In third place, the standard of Chinese cuisine, gyoza dumplings. The secret to its popularity is how it is made. Every day, the wrappers of dumplings are handmade from 4 in the morning. The pork used is also minced at the factory on a daily basis. Another special feature is how they are wrapped. Each one is individually hand-wrapped by skilled workers. It is these important fine folds that trap the meat broth, and when fried, gives the whole dumpling a chewy texture. This can only be achieved when wrapped by hand.
で、皮もすごくもちもちしていて食感がありますね。
Back to the rankings. In second place is Nikuman. A pack of 3 is about $6. These meat buns are also hand-wrapped. The doughs are leavened at twice the speed of usual Nikuman, resulting in a fluffy texture. The meat's flavor is penetrated through the soft dough. Finally, in first place is...
Shumai.
In the 2.5 hours opening time, 800 packages of shumai dumplings have been sold. We now move to Shizuoka Prefecture. In such early hours of the morning, we find a queue of about 50 people in the middle of a field. What on earth are they lining up for? Suzuki Farm is well known by the locals for its direct sales of sweet corn, for which there are long lines of customers. But what is so special about this sweet corn that draws in crowds of buyers? It appears to be its sweetness.
綺麗ですね。
綺麗ですね。はい。
黄色と白。
はい、そうですね。これバイカラーが特徴になってますんでね。はい。生で食べれますんで召し上がってください。
生でですか？
生で。
甘い。野菜ってこと忘れます。フルーツですよ。
The sugar content is at 20 degrees Brix, the equivalent to the sweetness of a melon. It also tastes good when boiled. A pack of 6 to 9 of these special sweet corn can be bought at about $11. At such a good deal, customers buy large amounts.
もちろんお一人で召し上がるわけではないですよね。いや、親戚とかみんなに頼まれて。
The sweetness of these sweet corn, which has buyers hooked, is due to the soil of where they are grown.
ちょっと粘土質入った土ですんで。
This soil was created as a result of years of research. This hard, clay-like soil obtains nourishment, producing sweet-tasting sweet corn. This farm's sweet corn is sold for a limited time until the beginning of August. Isehara City, Kanagawa Prefecture. Another farmer's market where lines of people form daily for a certain specialty. Today there are around 40 people. They are all here for eggs. Huge amounts of eggs sell as soon as they open their doors. As they are bought in boxes, 25,000 eggs are sold each day. A pack of 10 eggs is about $3. They are fast selling because of their taste.
美味しい。すっごく甘いですよ。
黄身がね、
濃厚で美味しいです。
もうここ以外は生で食べられないんで。
Their eggs boast a rich yolk, which, as you can see, doesn't burst very easily. How is this rich yolk realized?
餌ですね。餌。はい。
A nutritious chicken feed of corn mixed with fish meal, marine plants and oyster shells breeds chickens which lay eggs with rich-tasting yolks. Such rich eggs are perfect for the Japanese dish tamago kake gohan. Simply mix a raw egg and pour it over rice. Lastly, add soy sauce. The sales of these eggs begin at 9 in the morning every day and finish when all are sold out. Next, also in Kanagawa, in Atsugi City, is this suitcase warehouse. It is a suitcase manufacturer that mainly sells cheaply online, and the original products are under $100. These products can be bought at an even lower price at this head office warehouse.
こっちの方がより安いものになってます。アウトレット商品って言ってちょっとした傷あり品とかなので。
The damaged products, which are unsellable as normal items, are sold here at outlet prices.
ここがくっついてないものですね。はい。
The inner material of this suitcase is peeling off, and at a 30% discount is selling for $64. Others have slight scratches or small stains which do not affect the suitcase's durability. They are all sold at cheap prices.
あんまり気にならない。
気にならないですか？
特に壊れなかったらいいかな。
The best time to go is in the earlier hours of weekends as they are stocked up with items. Our last direct sales depot is in Saitama Prefecture.
自転車とか。
That is, direct sales of bicycles. It is said that they sell 700 bicycles in a day. We have arrived at the bicycle store in question, named Hodaka. It is a bicycle manufacturing company that sells Marukin models. From children's bicycles, sports bicycles, to electric bicycles, this store produces a large variety. We heard this large producer of bikes was opening the doors of its main office warehouse and took a look at some of their items for sale.
これですか？はい。これがですね、普通に買うとだいたい2800円なんですけど、13000円になります。
That's about 30% off. It's brand new, however, it has been discounted because of a small scratch. This children's bicycle is down to $90, which is more than half price. This sports model, attractive for the younger generation, is now down to $150 from $270. Then they showed us their best bargain.
これもそうですね。これも電動です。はい。
This is also a discount price. For how much?
79,800円が4万円です。
4万？
はい。
It is down to half the regular price. For the purpose of stock clearance, it is at a special price. On top of that, the popular electric bicycle with a child seat is also at a cheaper price. By making your way to a direct sales depot, you are sure to go home with many bargains.
So that's it for Channel Japan Ranking. After the break, we'll bring your documentary program, so stay tuned.
Skytree. This is the grand panoramic view from 450 meters. Here you experience the unforgettable. Look, enjoy, be amazed, and be awestruck. That's what Tokyo Skytree is all about.
Japan's latest landmark,
Tokyo Skytree.
You're watching Channel Japan. In our next segment, we'll be showing some of our popular documentary programs. Today, from Japanese Dream by TBS, we'll introduce how foods are being softened without changing its appearance.
Chikuzeni, a Japanese dish of braised chicken and vegetables. This one, however, is slightly different to usual. A new revolution in food has begun. Octopus is usually hard to bite off, but this turns to paste when gently pressed. The taste and shapes are the same, yet it is softened down to a thousandth of its original stiffness. This is super soft food. The leader of the development team is Hiroaki Masunaga. The secret to this softness lies in the fruit and vegetables themselves. What could it be? It was a predestined encounter that changed Masunaga's life.
I have a dream.
Watch closely to see how soft the food is. Placing a thin plate on top flattens it completely. It can be broken up with only your tongue, yet amazingly, both the textures of meat and vegetables are the same as regular ones. We visited Masunaga's workplace to see how these foods are made. They are supposedly preparing meals, although the room looks like a research lab. The cooks are scientists. Instead of knives and chopping boards, there are electron microscopes and complicated measuring devices. In fact, this is a room in a pharmaceutical company, and these workers are a group of professionals who make medicine. It is very different to the usual preparation of food. This researcher is analyzing meat with an electron microscope.
7年ぐらい肉散歩ですね。植物の中のちっちゃい成分とかを研究してたので、会社来て肉切るとは思わなかったですね。
This man's main field of research is fish.
会社の名前に対するイメージとずっと魚やってたんで、なんか自分魚屋なんじゃないかなっていう。
There are also researchers that focus on vegetables. Their job is to make the food softer. But how do they do it?
これが酵素です。食べ物を消化させるための分解酵素なんですね。
Enzymes break down food particles. When saturating a piece of meat in it, the meat becomes soft in just 15 minutes and begins to melt. This is the same as digestion. There are a countless number of digestive enzymes in a human's body. For example, there is amylase in saliva and pepsin in gastric juices. It is these types of enzymes that break down food. They cut the fiber between cells, thus softening the particles. Nevertheless, if the food melts, it would come to nothing, and in order to keep the food's solid shape, the effective enzymes need to be controlled.
消化という営みを味や形が変わってしまうギリギリ手前まで皿の上で事前にやっておくという考え方なんです。
At medical sites where there are patients with weak chewing and swallowing muscles, there are high expectations for this soft food. When eating is proved difficult, many hospitals bring out food that has been blended in a mixer. Though wishing to savor the food, it is hard to do so with this mushy blended kind. The shape and taste is starkly different.
今まで食べれないで苦労されてたご本人とか、それを見て残念がってたご家族の方が喜んでいただけるっていうことが少しでもお役に立てればありがたいなと思ってますけど。時間かかりますね。
On the contrary, once before, Masunaga fell far short of his current frame of mind. 8 years ago, when this project began, Masunaga worked on enteral nutrients. Enteral nutrients are for people who cannot even eat blended food and are passed through tubes in the nose to your stomach and bowels. Masunaga, who had pride in his work, was suddenly reassigned. He was asked to make food to replace mixer blended food that was so soft you could break it down with your tongue. He thought it absurd and impossible.
かなり突飛なテーマをですね、上からシャニムにやれって言われて、強い反発をしたわけですよ。どれだけのハードルを超えないといけない、そこにたどり着かないかっていうことを想像してんのかよっていう。
Unconvinced by the company's policy, Masunaga began researching into how to make softer food. One day, however, he heard a sincere call for help from a university hospital. It was Professor Higashiguchi, a leading expert in nutrition management research.
そもそも普通のおでんならおでんの形がして、それを口の中でとろけさせないかと。なら皆さんにはそんなものできませんよって冷たくあしらわれた。
Higashiguchi aspires to help patients with weak chewing muscles so that they can enjoy eating. Masunaga realized his mistake. This was important research. He knew he shouldn't be doing it half-heartedly. After he met with Higashiguchi, he felt ready to face the challenge. He would make what he thought impossible, possible.
電源で拾ってみるようなことも考えてほしいね、これね。
Masunaga found that enzymes were the key to this research and succeeded in finding the enzymes best suited for each food type. However, he hit an unexpected wall. The enzymes that were coated on the surface of the food couldn't be absorbed fully to the inside. Suddenly, he thought of Japanese pickled vegetables.
きゅうりの塩もみみたいなもので、その塩を外側にまぶしてやると、そのまぶした塩にきゅうりの水が引っ張られて、その代わりに塩が中に入り込んでいくっていうような。
The salt absorbs the moisture from the inside and then penetrates through the food. Using a similar method to remove the moisture and air based on the same principle, Masunaga thought the enzymes could be penetrated through food to make it soft. From there, Masunaga created an environment similar to a vacuum to try a sucking out method. Bubbles started to appear. It was the air and moisture from the inside. Were the enzymes penetrated through? Here is a video where they tried it out. When the magnet was released, with little force, the carrot broke. The hard lotus root vegetable also became this soft. Masunaga wanted to give the good news to Higashiguchi as soon as possible and took the tested vegetables to him, but his reaction was not a particularly good one.
口に入れた瞬間に極めて複雑な顔をして口を押さえたんですね。言うのをどうしようと思いつつ顔に出ちゃったんだよって。
これはダメだと。食べられない。もう食べた瞬間ベーって吐き出すようなこといっぱいありましたね。
These are the samples from that time. The taste, vital to food, was not good enough. Masunaga wished for Higashiguchi to say the food tasted good. He thought out different tastes and carried out many trials. Nonetheless, the professor would frown at each tasting. As Higashiguchi continually found faults in his samples, Masunaga took a drastic step. He employed a Japanese cuisine chef as part of the research team. Here, the debate between Masunaga and the chef over flavoring the food began. Masunaga had opened his eyes to the sense of taste. He took the newly flavored food to Higashiguchi to try.
超うまい。満足。
The food that would act as a replacement to the mushy blended food, as Higashiguchi had hoped for, had been accomplished. The taste and shape is the same. Even if your chewing muscles have weakened, this food can be broken up with your tongue. As a food that supports the pleasure of being able to eat, it was named I Eat. This woman couldn't eat properly with her mouth for 3 years.
こういうことを考えてた人がいたんだなっていうことが本当に嬉しかった。もう全然食べれないところから食べることができるようになっただけでももう口では言えないぐらいの感謝です。いいですよね。
Higashiguchi, who strictly judged the food's development, had this to say.
松永さん、お疲れ様です。時にはまずいとか、こんなんダメだとか、かなり厳しい言葉も言いましたが、ごめんなさい。でも、ここまで来ましたよね。将来の日本のために、まだまだ元気で頑張って一緒にやっていきたいと思っていますのでよろしくお願いいたします。頑張れ。
ダメだねこれ。実際にこうやって 面と向かってありがたがっていただける人を見るとちょっとやっぱりその食べるっていうことをきっかけにこうね、少しでもまたそのなんていうかな、こう生きたいっていう、それをこう取り戻してもらえればいいかなと。まだまだやらなきゃいけないことたくさんあるなっていうのを実感しますね。
Otsuda-san, how many types of food products are there in the Northern Care market?
Well, according to the number of products registered by the Japan Care Food Conference, there are currently about 1,400 different products, and this has been increasing about threefold during the past 5 years.
Well, after the break, we'll be showing you an economics program, Gachiri Monday, so don't go away.
Man, look at all these cars.
Hey, have you heard, by the way? The Japanese company Kobelco is working to make the world's cars lighter.
So what does that mean?
Kobelco is using aluminum and steel technologies to make car parts and bodies lighter around the world.
Ah, Japanese technology. The country of karate. Ha! Ha! Ha!
Why do we always do that?
I don't know.
The talk of the world. Kobelco.
We do our jobs with sincerity and integrity to make a better living environment for the people and our society. Today's work, tomorrow's heritage. Shimizu Corporation.
Omron is a company like no other. It defines expectations because engineers are constantly working on something new. Machines that are attuned to the way people think and move. Therein lies technology that will one day help the future. We automate. Omron.
Because we believe cities are about people. Mori Building.
You're watching Channel Japan. We'll show you an episode from popular Japanese economics program, Gachiri Monday by TBS. So today we'll take a look at the secret behind the popularity of different age products.
But first, we headed to Shizuoka Prefecture to visit a meat shop. As we went inside the store, we found all types of beef. This store is one of the forerunners of the aged meat business, which has become popular recently. By aging low-fat red meat for a long time, they improve the flavor. Does this mean that the meat tastes better when it is half spoiled?
腐りかけとですね、熟成とはちょっと違うんですね。旨味が凝縮してですね、お肉も柔らかですし、ドライエイジングですね。はい。
A technique called dry aging allows the flavor of the meat to concentrate without spoiling. To find out how they age the meat, we went inside a refrigerating room that is used for meat aging. The temperature is set at 1 degree Celsius. This does not freeze the meat, yet it prevents the meat from deteriorating. As for the type of meat,
まあだいたい 90% ぐらいだいたいホルスタインですね。はい。
The meat that is more suitable for aging is said to be from dairy cattle such as Holstein instead of beef cattle. This breed is not considered expensive, but their red meat is considered the most suitable for aging.
もう劇的に肉が変わりますね。 これ非常にもう旨味も濃くなるし、そして肉のキメも細かくなるんですね。
Prime Japanese beef is high in fat. So when it is aged, the fat becomes oxidized and ruins the flavor. This is why they use red Holstein meat and age it for 40 days.
はい。そうですね。この強い風でですね、それでお肉の中の水分をですね、引き出してるんですね。
By wind drying the beef's surface, the excessive moisture is extracted. The biggest secret behind good aged beef is this board behind the shelves.
熟成する時の菌の住処なんですよ。はい、この木の中にその菌の住処があるんですね。菌床になってるってことですね。はい。
The microorganisms that live on this wood are important for the aging process. Certain fungal species break up the protein of the meat and increase amino acid, which gives flavor and makes the meat tender. The president of this company found this fungal species in the United States, home of the drying age techniques, and succeeded in culturing it after tireless experiments. These are sections of a regular meat cut and a cut that was aged for 40 days. As you can see, the aged one does not look appetizing. After removing the bones and trimming the surface, clean red meat is revealed. The dry surface parts always need trimming, and 30% of the meat is lost compared to raw meat cuts. We tried the meat that was aged for 40 days.
もう柔らかさ全然違いますね、これね。
It costs about $20 for 100 grams. And it is 30% more expensive than regular red meats. But they get orders constantly from various hotels and restaurants nationwide. They enjoy a lucrative business by adding value to cheap red meat through aging. Next, we visited a store in Tsuruga, Fukui Prefecture that is doing well with aged products. We saw all sorts of kombu seaweed in their store. They are an established kombu seaweed store, which started in 1871.
2年3年と蔵で加工って昆布を熟成さすんですね。でそれで旨味を増したやつを京都の料亭さんを中心にね、全国の料理屋さんへ出荷しているのが弊社なんです。
The kind of seaweed they age is the one that is used for Japanese soup stock. Usually, kombu seaweed is ready for shipping after drying in the sun for one day. Here, they age it for years using a method called kura gakoi, or cellar conversion. The cellar they use is dark, and the temperature is kept at 20 degrees Celsius. The seaweed is laid cramped together on straw mats. We call it kura gakoi kombu seaweed.
もうここにあるすべて利尻昆布ですね。
利尻昆布。
はい。
利尻昆布高いやつですよね。
そうですね。京都の料亭がお使いになる昆布ですね。
The kombu seaweed they are aging here is very expensive. When you leave them for years under a certain temperature, the smell of the sea is reduced, and the sugar and amino acid join together to make a mellower flavor. To test if this is true, we made dashi soup out of 3 kombu pieces, one fresh, one aged 3 years, and one aged 10 years, by soaking them in water for the same amount of time. You can see that the kombu aged for 10 years made very thick dashi soup. We asked why kombu aging became popular in Tsuruga, Fukui.
敦賀はですね、昔から松前交易と言いましてね、北海道の物産が関西に集められる時の入り口の港だったんですね。
In the Edo period, Tsuruga Bay was the place where ships full of Hokkaido kombu gathered and headed towards western Japan. However, sometimes heavy snow prevented shipments and they were forced to store them over winter. One day, someone used the stored kombu to make dashi soup and realized it tasted better. That was the start of kombu aging here in Tsuruga. We visited a high-end Kyoto-style restaurant that uses aged kombu from Tsuruga. We asked the head chef what he thinks of the kombu.
10年近く使っておりますけど、味加減とか加減するにも一番いいんですね。使いやすいんです。
The key to Japanese cuisine is dashi soup. Saying aged kombu is used in almost every dish is not an overstatement. In fact, aged kombu is the very ingredient that makes Kyoto-style cuisine possible. The cellar is packed with aged kombu. Each packet is labeled with a name.
これはですね、それぞれの利尻昆布が取れた浜の名前なんですね。
浜で何か違うんですか？
もう全く違います。もう全くワインのテロワール、それとヴィンテージ、
テロワール、
もう全く同じですね。
一番古いのって、はい、何年のものになるんですか？
うちにはですね、平成元年のがございます。
平成元年、26年もの。
そうです、もう26年経ちますね。
They haven't decided how much longer they are going to age them, but they intend to age them for 50 to 100 years. With the price of $100 for 400 grams, it is costly. But thanks to the worldwide popularity of Japanese food, aged kombu is attracting attention from French and Italian cuisine chefs. Next, we visited a company in Yamanashi Prefecture. We asked the president what product they are aging.
コーヒーなんです。コーヒー。はい。まず生豆のコーヒーを熟成させまして、約1年ちょっとですが、それから焙煎、ローストしております。
Their aged coffee is a bit expensive, priced at $9 for 200 grams, but they are gaining popularity among coffee connoisseurs. It has always been said that coffee tastes best when it is freshly harvested, grounded, and roasted. However, at this company, they age the coffee beans for more than a year before roasting them.
ここは自然の風で、こちらの方が八ヶ岳で、八ヶ岳の風を通しまして、自然にこの豆がですね、呼吸をしているわけですね。
The reason why this warehouse has so many windows is to make it well ventilated. Located at the foot of the Southern Alps, the weather is dry with a low annual precipitation. These conditions are ideal for aging coffee. We took a look at some actual aged coffee beans. Compared to freshly harvested beans, the aged beans are more yellow and less blue. Does the taste of coffee change with aging?
コーヒーというのは主成分はタンニン酸なんですが、タンニンは熟成させることによって甘みに変わるわけですね。はい。
Through aging, tannin is transformed, and the coffee's flavor becomes richer, and the bitter and harshness are removed. Also, regular coffee beans are very hard to crush. But the aged coffee beans are easily cracked open. Through aging, the beads develop fine holes. So the heat from roasting reaches the center of the beans more easily. The biggest feature of aged coffee beans is
冷めても味が変わらないということですね。変わらない。
Because the heat from roasting reaches the center of the aged coffee beans and the fat is completely removed, they do not oxidize easily. This is why the flavor doesn't change over time. The last place we visited was a construction company in Shiga Prefecture. Inside, wood was scattered everywhere.
家の骨組みになる木材を時間をかけてじっくり熟成させます。
If freshly cut timber is used without being seasoned, it cracks and bends. So, is the drying technique used to prevent that from happening?
まああれは乾燥といって、熟成とは言わないですけどね。うちの場合はちょっともう一つ隠し味が。
To see the drying process, we headed to the nearby mountains. We were led to a pond.
池に丸太をつけてるんですよ。
How does soaking the wood in a pond dry it?
木は一旦水につけてから乾かす。これが水中乾燥です。1年間こうやって水につけることによってここでゆっくり体を休めて強い木材になるために備える場所なんですよ。
According to the company president, soaking in water drains the sap containing dust out of the logs, and moisture is absorbed and spreads evenly through the logs. After 1 year, they draw the logs out of the pond and dry them in the sun slowly to remove moisture. This way, the logs become more durable and beautiful compared to logs dried in the conventional way. It takes a total of 2 years for the aging, 1 year in the water, a half a year in the sun, and another half year of drying. The current way of drying timber is by using a high-temperature drying chamber right after the tree falls. This method only takes 1 or 2 weeks to dry the wood.
人工乾燥は表面が割れてないだけで中が割れてるんですよね。
This conventional drying process dries the wood with the sap still inside it, so there is a higher risk that the center of the log will crack. Although it takes more time and effort, the soaking and drying method is more friendly to both the logs and home builders. We ask how they ended up with this aging method.
もともと山から切ってきた木をみんな川をせき止めてでそこに切った木を貯めとかはったんですよ。もう昔からやっぱりやってはるんですよ。
You may have seen logs floating in a river this way. Even in Tokyo, the soaking and drying method to season wood was common. However, it is not used very often because it was not very efficient. This company revived the method for modern times. This brand new house built with aged timber is 20% more expensive than a regular house. They are not only beautiful, but also durable. This house will last at least 100 years.
Another unique aging method called ice temperature aging was developed by a research center in Tottori Prefecture, and they developed a way to make salt water into a slush form and age seafood while it's in transport. And there's another one. It's a method of aging alcohol by storing it at the bottom of the sea. And they say the sway of the current helps encourage aging, and also the stable water temperature creates a good environment for the sake.
How impressive.
Mitsui & Company.
Mitsubishi Electric is helping to change the environment for the better around the world.
Green subway systems in India.
Green solar power systems in Singapore.
Sistem AC ramah lingkungan di Indonesia.
Eco changes for a greener tomorrow. Mitsubishi Electric.
the sport truck. New Mitsubishi Triton.
Drive at Earth Mitsubishi Motors.
Well, that's it for this edition of Channel Japan. There will be more on the latest information from Japan, so join us again next time.
The World Assembly for Women 2014, held under Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's initiative to create a society in which women shine. An international conference to discuss policies for the empowerment of women.
I am determined to make the